Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll work.
Yeah, let's hope we don't get shot.
Ladies and gentlemen, our next performer, a distinguished veteran of the United States Army, Hua. He recently released his deluxe album, God Family Country, which he credits as his firm foundations, and will embark on his headlining tour this fall. He also just released his memoir titled God Family Country, Soldier, Singer, Husband, Dad. There's a whole lot more to me. Ladies and gentlemen, in the country world, they don't get much bigger than this. Craig Morgan.
Where did all the people go? They got scared when the lights went low. I'll get you through it nice and slow while the world's been out of control. Afraid of what they might lose, might get scraped or they might get bruised. Yeah, you could try, but what the use? And that's why it's called a moment of truth. Yeah, I'll get it if you need it. I'll search if you don't see it. If you're thirsty, I'll be rain. If you get hurt, I'll take your pain. I know you don't believe it, but I said it and I still mean it. When you heard what I told you, when you get worried, I'll be your soldier. Funny when times get hard, at the last moment when you're supposed to charge. Always on the longest yard. Oh, they feel the feet getting cold. Hiding here and hiding there. Find them underneath the stairs. Yeah, people hiding everywhere, trying to be as still as a stone. So I'll get it if you need it. I'll search if you don't see it. If you're thirsty, I'll be rain. If you get hurt, I'll take your pain. I know you don't believe it, but I said it and I still mean it. When you heard what I told you, when you get worried, I'll be your soldier. I am the soldier. I wanna show you I'll try forever. I'm never gonna say surrender. I'll get it if you need it. I'll search if you don't see it. If you're thirsty, I'll be rain. If you get hurt, I'll take your pain. I know you don't believe it, but I said it and I still mean it. When you heard what I told you, when you get worried, I'll be your soldier. I'll be your soldier. I'll be your soldier. Na 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 na. God bless the United States of America and those that serve it.
All right, so we've added a few accoutrements to our fashion here. We're going with the blue umbrella. A little bit of rain on our parade's not going to screw things up for us, is it? Wait, is it? Just double checking. All right, good to go. Craig, you sounded great. I know we had another one queued up, but when your guitar starts giving you a little buzz in your fingertips, that's just not going to work out so well. So, next, I want to introduce to you our military best friend. This is a chef. Anytime you say chef in the military, you automatically have a best friend. Robert Irvine. At age 15, he joined the British Royal Navy. And during his military service, he decided he wanted to become an expert at becoming a chef, cooking for the troops, making them happy. No faster way to make the troops happy than to work right through their stomach. Now he has had Food Network shows that have been incredibly popular with his skills. And as a proud American citizen, he has become one of the entertainment industry's strongest supporters of our military. He's been named as honorary chef petty officer of the U.S. Navy. His nonprofit foundation seeks to support and honor our military heroes. We are honored to introduce a true friend of our uniformed men and women. Please, a warm welcome for Chef Robert Irvine.
I'm a Navy guy. We don't need umbrellas. First of all, it's a great honor to be here. I got into following the military for a very good friend of mine. He's sitting in the stands there wearing dark glasses, trying to look cool like me. His name's Gary Sinise. Yeah. About 15 years ago, I started to work with Gary, and then I started my own foundation. That humming's not me, by the way. That's what's about to blow up in a minute. I started my own foundation, the Robert Irvine Foundation, to work alongside Gary Sinise and Joe. To be here is something special. Memorial Day means something really somber to me. It's special. We celebrate the lives of our fallen. And as a British Royal Navy Royal Marine veteran, I'm humbled to be here. The person I want to bring up next is iconic. Joe Mantegna is, film, TV, you name it, he's done it. I just asked him if he would let me be like a murder victim in one of his shows. And he said yes. Please give a great warm welcome to Joe Mantegna.
Thank you very much. This is my 22nd year here in Washington, D.C. to be part of this concert and part of this parade. As I've learned over these years, this holiday is the most important holiday we celebrate in this country, because without this holiday, we have no reason to celebrate anything else. So it's a privilege to be here. This Memorial Day, God bless this country, and I want to bring up my dear, dear friend who's been co-hosting this concert with me over these many years and also doing this parade through rain, through shine, and everything else. My dear friend, and also the man who started the Gary Sinise Foundation, which does so much for our veterans out there. My dear friend, Gary Sinise.
Doing the Memorial Day concert each year with Joe is one of the special moments of my year. And because so many of the people that we work with throughout the year are here to pay tribute to our fallen heroes. This particular year and every year, I think about my own family members who served in the military on both my side of the family, my wife's side of the family. And of course, I think of everyone who has sacrificed in freedom's defense to keep us safe and free. Freedom comes at a cost. People are willing to pay that price. People are willing to stand up and do something to keep us free. And I think we as citizens who benefit from the freedom that they provide, the least we can do is remember them each and every day. Every day should be Memorial Day in the United States of America. God bless you and God bless America.
It's amazing when the pages get wet. Hey, Chef, when you said the Navy, you guys don't need an umbrella. My involvement with the Army and the Air Force, we're just wise enough to carry one. Plus, you guys wear white. I mean, when you get white wet, really, what does it show? Nothing, okay? All right, give me 1 second here. Just a quick word about Gary Sinise and some of the actors who have come here to D.C. and taken their time. It means a lot, especially I live right next to Arlington National Cemetery, so a day doesn't go by where I don't walk down the street and look at the head markers and realize that we have a lot to give credit for and that our freedoms clearly came at a very hefty price. So when you have actors that do more than just act in a part that represents our military, but he actually puts the roof overhead of some of the folks that come home who've been banged up in war. So he puts his money where his mouth is, and there's more than a few actors who do that, and entertainers, as we've seen with Mr. Morgan out here today. It's nice to see. I wish in years ahead that these stands are packed with those folks who want to stand and represent and enjoy the freedoms that were given to them by someone else braver than them, and at least do something to pay it back. So, Gary, thank you very much for being here and for all you do. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise. Place your hand over your hearts if you would. And singing our national anthem today is Tech Sergeant Adam von Allman.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Well done, sir. Thank you. Thank you, Tech Sergeant, for that. And please welcome to present the invocation, Randall E. Kitchens, Chaplain Major General, United States Air Force. Thank you for being here, sir. Get this out of your way. You want the umbrella?
That's fine. No, I'm good. I invite you to join me in prayer. Almighty God, we are thankful for this day you have made, our freedom as a nation, and the privilege to celebrate those who defended and fought for our freedom but never came home alive. Lord, for 155 years, our nation has observed this day in remembering our fallen, our patriots who shed their blood to refresh the tree of liberty and lay their ultimate sacrifice onto the altar of freedom. We honor and remember each one in their families who have suffered such a great loss. We ask that you bless this day, this Memorial Day parade that unfolds in a timeline that spans our wars and losses. Grant safety and peace to all. May we remember and never forget our heroes and fallen on this Memorial Day. We pray this in thy holy name. Amen.
Thank you, General. Please welcome to the podium one of the reviewing officials for today's parade, Major General U.S. Marine Corps. Any Marines? I'll know you're there. How did you and the Army get all mixed up? Ooh-ah, oorah. I don't understand. You guys just couldn't even get along on that. It's all good. Major General U.S. Marine Corps, retired 12th NASA Administrator and founder and CEO Emeritus, the Charles F. Bolden Group, the Honorable Charles Bolden, Jr., please.
Thanks for your gracious introduction, John. What an honor to be here with all of you for this 2023 National Memorial Day Parade, and especially to have three legends of the Apollo program as our Grand Marshals. It was September 12, 1962, when President John F. Kennedy stood in a crowded Rice University Stadium in Houston, Texas, and gave his famous "We Choose to Go to the Moon" speech, in which he pledged the United States would send men to the moon and bring them safely back to Earth, to assure that our nation would become an international leader in space exploration. He stated, and I quote, "We choose to go to the moon in this decade and do other things, not because they are easy, but because they are hard," unquote. We would lose the valiant Apollo 1 crew, Gus Grissom, Ed White, and Roger Chaffee, in a dreadful fire in the crew module on the launch pad on January 27th, 1967, just a month prior to their scheduled launch. They are among the thousands of servicemen and women we celebrate and remember on this solemn Memorial Day. Despite this setback, however, we would go on to launch the Apollo 11 mission in July 1969 and land Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin on the lunar surface on July 20th, 1969, fulfilling President Kennedy's promise of landing on the moon before the end of the decade. When Neil and Buzz entered their lunar module for their ascent to the Apollo command module and the return to Earth, they left an American flag and a plaque which read, and I quote, "Here men from the planet Earth first set foot upon the moon, July 1969 in the year of our Lord. We came in peace for all mankind," unquote. Our three grand marshals for today's parade, Rusty Schweigert, Apollo 9, Charlie Duke, Apollo 16 and South Carolina, and Harrison Jack Schmidt, Apollo 17, are the embodiment of that unflappable spirit of exploration, a spirit that finds our nation again today preparing to return humans to the moon in the crew of the Artemis II mission, slated for launch in just over 2 years. When the crew of Commander Reed Weissman, pilot Victor Glover, and mission specialist Christina Hammett-Koch and Jeremy Hansen will fly to the moon aboard the Orion crew module. Once there, they will perform a lunar flyby in preparation for the eventual return of humans to the surface of the moon just 2 years later. Our missions to the moon 50 years ago inspired people across the globe like no events prior to that time, and proved that the human spirit is born to explore and achieve great things. They set the stage for this and future generations to carry on America's leadership in space exploration. As we continue our quest of exploration and chart our course for a return to the moon and then on to Mars, we pause today. We pause to honor the legends of Apollo and all the men and women of these great United States who served and made the ultimate sacrifice in service to our nation. We pray that we may live up to their example and do all we can to maintain the greatness of our nation. God bless all our departed servicemen and women, as well as those who wear the cloth of our nation today. And God bless America.
It's amazing when you think that we have astronauts here with us. Some of them went to the moon. How about this? 99.9% of the people who are glued to their cell phones on a daily basis, literally about 8 inches, you know who they are, that phone has 10 times more power than the lunar module had flying off to the moon. Would you trust something like that to climb into a capsule and launch into space with less technology than what you carry on a daily basis? And they did. You talk about brave. General, thank you for that. Please welcome now, from the presenting sponsor of the 2023 National Memorial Parade, the Boeing Company, President of Business Development for Boeing Defense, Space and Security Global Services, Heidi Grant. Heidi, come on up. Good to see you.
So, to our survivors of the fallen military, service members and families, veterans, distinguished guests from around the world that are gathered here today, it's an honor to be with you to commemorate Memorial Day. Nothing, and I mean nothing, can dampen the spirits of the parade participants, not even a little bit of rain today. So let me begin by first introducing you to the three Grand Marshals, the legends of the Apollo program, men who have walked the moon. First is Rusty Schweikert, Apollo 9. Next is Charlie Duke, Apollo 16.
I'm not Navy.
Jack Schmidt, Apollo 17. And along with our another NASA astronaut is Randy Bresnik. Welcome, Randy. Yeah. So on behalf of the Boeing Company, we're filled with patriotic spirit and gratitude to be here today at this Memorial Day parade, supporting American veterans for the center to guard our legacy and honor the sacrifice of the American veterans. As I traveled here, I thought about our loved ones, the sons, the daughters, brothers, sisters, spouses, and friends that voluntarily gave their lives for ours. We're here today because they volunteered to serve. You raised them to believe in something greater than themselves. You raised them to believe in America. I've heard countless service members' stories of sacrifice and recovery, and I'm so inspired and proud. Their sacrifices are immeasurable. May we never forget the debt of gratitude we owe them and their families. Having spent 32 years at the Department of Defense, I've seen firsthand what it means to serve, long separations, deployments, and loss. Let's renew our faith in our democracy and in the values that bind us together as Americans to keep citizens safe, to keep our nation safe, and to keep the world safe. God bless those who volunteered to be in harm's way, providing us every opportunity to advance freedom on behalf of a grateful nation. It's not lost on me that I'm surrounded here today by incredible Americans. We're surrounded every day by incredible Americans. It makes what Boeing does really matter. We provide the military with advanced technologies to protect our freedoms and protect our warfighters. On Memorial Day, tomorrow, and the many days that follow, we may never forget their names or their stories. And may we never forget and lose sight of the extraordinary privilege it is to live in the land of the free because of the brave. Thank you. May God bless the fallen, their families, survivors, and the United States of America.
Thank you. Sorry for the wet hand. Thank you, sir. Thanks.
Quick note is Memorial Day for many is just a day off where they go and barbecue, although today probably doesn't lend itself to that. Although I'm a smoker, so I'd be out put the smoker out in the morning and you leave it for 6 hours. But it's also a very difficult day. There are Gold Star families among us today, and a Gold Star family is somebody who's lost somebody in a time of war. This is the time and this is the day perhaps you reach out to somebody who's a Gold Star family, just give them a call, let them know you're thinking about them. It means the world to them so that they know that their sacrifice has not been forgotten. With that said, are we ready for a parade? Yes. I said, are we ready for a parade? What I expect from this crowd all along Constitution Avenue is to get crazy. These performers have come from all over the country. They've spent a great deal of money. Let's let them know that they're out there performing in the rain for you, that it means everything. So be loud all along the route. And with that said, we are streaming around the world live in just a matter of seconds. So with that said, let the parade begin. Enjoy.
As we begin, I'm telling you, we are this close to start this parade. We want to be grateful and give a little appreciation to all the people that have done so much in preparation, in particular the Metropolitan Police Department of Washington, D.C., and of course the great U.S. Park Police Department. They've been super. You know, we couldn't have done it without these great people helping us and their support and their assistance here in Washington, D.C., and so we are just about ready to kick off. And as my wonderful friend Jonathan Elias said, you got to get noisy in this parade. You worried about a little rain? Think about being in the trenches. Think about gunfire. Think about battles. We're going to get this going. Ladies and gentlemen. from Washington, D.C. on Constitution Avenue, welcome to the National Memorial Day Parade.
It's a great day. We would like it if the rain would turn off, but it doesn't matter. It's a drizzle, and folks have come from all over the country to be a part of this parade, so we welcome them, and we welcome all the fans lining Constitution Avenue to enjoy this parade. Welcome. Also, now, let's start things off with Tech Sergeant Adam Von Allman and the Memorial Day Festival Chorus under the direction of Mr. Sidney Hawksmere.
You got one.
Oh, beautiful for spacious skies, for amber waves of grain, for purple mountain majesty, above the fruited plain. America, God shed his grace on thee, and crown thy good with brotherhood. From sea to shining sea, America,
And that is how you start a Memorial Day parade in the nation's capital,
There you
right
go.
at the heart and soul of it, with all the branches of our military here, with so many families who have members who have served and those who have sacrificed. It is great having you all here in Washington, D.C. for the Memorial Day parade. This is Constitution Avenue, so this really is one of the main veins of Washington, D.C. As we watch these folks behind us, they're operating in a drizzle with a little rain. It's not going to stop anything.
No, are you kidding? We're all still waving our flags and ready to go.
Got mine right over here. All right, Memorial Day Parade is presented to you by Boeing. We thank them very much for their sponsorship. Otherwise, this might not be possible. The American Veterans Center is honored to bring you the nation's largest Memorial Day Parade right here from Washington, D.C.
And I'm Blankitha Cullum, and we welcome all of you joining us today, and a very special welcome to our service members.
Well, from the American Revolution to the generations who continue to serve our country proudly, today's parade honors these Americans who have served and sacrificed throughout our country's history. And now it is time, don't you think?
I think so.
It's time to have a parade.
It is.
Let's do it. In keeping with tradition, members of the Metropolitan Police Department, including an honor guard, are making their way down Constitution Avenue. They are signaling the official kickoff to the National Memorial Day Parade. And for those folks lining the route, please let all the performers today know how much you appreciate what they're doing, especially out with the rain.
Absolutely. Pretty fabulous.
Here are the members of the Metropolitan Police Department Cadet Corps, which is open to D.C. residents ages 17 to 24. Cadets working full-time, they receive college tuition and an annual salary.
Now, the cadet program currently consists of 124 cadets. They're looking to expand to 150. Now, those who are interested in joining the cadet program can visit mpd.dc.gov.
And carrying the lead parade banner are a group of very special women. They are Gold Star mothers.
Our hearts go with these mothers and their families, as this day is all about remembering and honoring the children that they have lost in active service of the United States Armed Forces, and all of those who have made the greatest sacrifice for our country. And from Utah, here is the Davis High School Marching Band, established in 1914. The band has a long history of excellence.
Under the direction of Michael Crookston, the band has played in the Rose Bowl Parade, the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. The band's motto is Life Lessons Through Music. Let's take a listen to these talented young musicians from Davis High School. Among the oldest of military traditions in a full honor funeral is that of a riderless horse. The horse is led behind the caisson wearing an empty saddle with the rider's boots reversed in the stirrups. That indicates that the warrior will never ride again.
The riderless horse leads this parade annually, a reminder of the true meaning of Memorial Day and the sacrifices that were made for our freedom.
And we're joined now by the National Memorial Day Parade's Ceremonial Honor Guard, consisting of marching platoons from each branch of the United States Armed Forces.
These platoons are under the order of Joint Force Headquarters National Capital Region and are being led by the United States Air Force Band.
It is one of the finest military marching bands, the United States Air Force Academy Marching Band, since its formation in 1941. This world-class organization has inspired billions of listeners through its exhilarating music, programs, and recordings.
Joining us in this special opening tribute today are platoons from each branch of the armed forces, including the United States Army, the Marines, the Navy, Air Force, and Coast Guard. Here is the Army's famed Old Guard Fife and Drum Corps from the 3rd United States Infantry Regiment. They're appearing in uniforms that were patterned after those worn by musicians in General George Washington's Continental Army.
18th century battlefield musicians. They wore the reverse colors of their units, which explains the bright red coats and the blue trim. Founded in 1960, this premier military musical organization proudly carries on the traditions created by George Washington's Continental Army. Next, we welcome the United States Park Police Horse-Mounted Unit. The Mounted Patrol Unit was founded in 1934. It is one of the oldest mounted patrol units in the entire United States.
This 50-foot Stars and Stripes flag is being carried by members of the Brooklyn College Veteran Student Organization.
A special thank you to all of our volunteers for carrying flags and banners throughout today's parade. And you got to feel for the ones that are carrying the flag and they're walking backwards. Nice job out there.
Sounds like Ginger Rogers.
That's right. Just as good as Fred, except backwards. Used to make me laugh when I heard that. They said Fred Astaire was an amazing dancer. I said, yeah, Ginger was better. She did it backwards in heels.
In high heels. Let's get the Aunt Richards quote right.
All right, let's welcome the pride of the drive, the Athens Drive High School Marching Band from Raleigh, North Carolina. The band has won hundreds of awards, has performed at Carnegie Hall, Walt Disney World, the National Outback Bowl, and the Philadelphia Thanksgiving Day Parade. Let's listen to their talents. They sound great.
Wonderful.
You know, we talk about living legends and heroes. Well, we are lucky enough to have 3 of them in our midst. Honored to present the Grand Marshals of the 2023 National Memorial Day Parade, Legends of Apollo. Appearing on a float made possible by Boeing are astronauts Russell Schweickart from Apollo 9, Charles Duke from Apollo 16, and Jack Schmitt from Apollo 17. Only 4 living men have set foot on the moon, with Charlie Duke and Jack Schmitt the 2 most recent. American legends inspiring a new generation of explorers. Gentlemen, welcome.
And riding alongside and representing NASA is astronaut Randy Bresnik, a Marine Corps officer, F-18 pilot, and veteran of Iraq. On his most recent mission, he served as commander of the International Space Station for Expedition 53. This year,
you think about what they did with Apollo. These guys climbed into a capsule, launched into space with enough technology that literally is less than a quarter of what you carry around on your cell phone.
Yeah, but I keep waiting for you to ask one of these astronauts, did he see Alice? Of course, those are people that remember Jackie Gleason when he used to say, to the moon,
to the moon.
Alice. Aren't they fabulous? You know, this year marks the continued 80th anniversary of World War II. We are really honored to be joined by surviving veterans of the war, serving as honorary Grand Marshals, and they are here to commemorate the 16 million Americans who served in the Second World War and the more than 400,000 who did not come home.
Joining them, he looks familiar, I'm sure, to a lot of you, as a longtime friend of the parade, actor Joe Mantegna. Joe has joined the National Memorial Day Parade each and every year from the very beginning, and for years riding alongside his late uncle, a World War II veteran of General Patton's 3rd Army. Joe, good to see you.
Yeah, we love Joe, and alongside Joe today is a paratrooper from the legendary 101st Airborne, a guy I personally absolutely love, Vince Speranza. A living legend. He recently spent his 98th birthday, get this, parachuting from a C-47 that had flown on D-Day. We were so honored to speak with our wonderful friend Vince Speranza before the parade.
101st, the Screaming Eagles, a famed group. And if you're not familiar with them, Band of Brothers was put together. Spielberg helped put that together. It's a series you can catch on Netflix. It's fantastic. It's all about the exploits of the 101st. To our surviving World War II veterans and all who have served, a heartfelt thank you. All right, the Frank Ballou Majestic Marching Knights from Washington, D.C. High energy, hard-stepping, award-winning band with heart and soul that uses music and hard work, discipline, and compassion to overcome all obstacles. The band has proudly appeared in the parade for more than a decade.
And they're really getting all around. They've appeared on the Ellen DeGeneres Show, Good Morning America, the Today Show. And this is their, I guess their 11th year. They've been with us for more than a decade. They're led today by drum major Michael Thornton. Ladies and gentlemen, feel the soul of the blue and gold.
The next up, this is a rival from my high school back in the day. I was a Hart grad. This is Saugus, right next door to us. Appearing for the first time outside their home state of California, the Saugus High School marching band, the Centurions. This resilient band has overcome severe challenges over the past few years. They thank their parents, school administration, and the city of Santa Clarita for being there and getting them here today. Let's listen into the Marching Centurions. All right, our next float made, I was just saying, it's heartening to see how unfazed all these young musicians are. They're soaking wet, and they're out there just banging it out, no problem.
And they don't drop the beat. That's
Not even a little
bit.
Our next float made possible by the Gary Sinise Foundation, funded by an actor and humanitarian. Gary Sinise has been in the scene in the military space for a long time, doing a lot of good.
Yes.
His nonprofit today, they honor the families of our fallen heroes. Each child and surviving spouse you see represent a military service member who is no longer with us. Today, we remember them and their sacrifice.
At the Gary Sinise Foundation, they not only honor the families of the fallen, they help our nation's most severely wounded military members, support our veterans, provide for the first responders, and so much more. They are impacting the lives of those who serve in the defense of freedom each and every day.
We encourage you to learn more about the impact and to support. You can visit theGarySiniseFoundation.org. And Gary, we thank you and your foundation for being here as one of Parade's great champions who has joined us nearly every year since its beginning. Thank you.
And we'll be right back with the National Memorial Day Parade right after this.
Here's a special message now from one of our key sponsors, Boeing.
On Memorial Day, we come together to honor the brave service members who gave their lives for our country. Let us never forget the debt of gratitude we owe them and their families. May their courage always inspire us to work towards a better and more peaceful world. All of us at the Boeing Company want to thank the American Veterans Center for your ongoing commitment to our veterans and for making this parade possible.
And the 2023 National Memorial Day Parade is brought to you by Boeing, also U-Haul and Alpha Prime.
And also the American Veterans Center. Join our opportunity here to preserve their legacy by going to AmericanVeteransCenter.org.
All right, let's get back to the parade. Take a look at what's going on Constitution Avenue right now. And the pride of Schulenburg Shorten Marching Band. They're from Schulenburg, Texas, made up of students in grades 8 through 12. And for the last 3 years, the band has actually scored superior ratings at UHL concert and sight reading competitions. You know how hard it is to be a musician and sight read? Literally, they put the sheet in front of you. These are kids that are 8 through 12 years old. That's
from Schulenburg, Texas.
Schulenburg, Texas. The band made this trip happen through fundraising and donations so that no student had to pay anything. They give a huge thank you to the Schulenburg American Legion Post.
We thank American Airlines, the official airlines of the National Memorial Day Parade.
In addition to training and pairing service dogs with our warriors, Paws for Purple Hearts offers an innovative service dog training program that teaches warriors with trauma-related conditions the skill of training service dogs for veterans with war-related injuries. In 2008, the first canine-assisted warrior therapy program was established in California, and due to the program's success, Paws for Purple Hearts expanded to Washington, D.C. Today, Paws for Purple Hearts has 6 facilities across the United States and has directly improved the lives of 11,000 service members.
The DeLand High School Marching Band Bulldogs, they proudly present and represent the state of Florida and the best little small town community in the South, DeLand. The Marching Bulldogs consistently earn superior ratings in all evaluations and perform in all their community events, of course at football games and 4 local parades each year. The DeLand High School Band program is over 100 years old and is the largest, most successful student organization at the school. Let's salute the director of the bands, Monica Limer, and the principal is Mike DeGilromo. Go Bulldogs!
We would like to thank Comcast for supporting this year's National Memorial Day Parade. Comcast's support for this event reflects the company's deep commitment to serving veterans, service members, and military families. The company has hired nearly 21,000 veterans, National Guard and Reserve service members, and military spouses since 2015. Today we are joined by local members of Comcast's Veterans Network Employee Resource Group.
We also want to thank a very good friend of ours, WMAL, for supporting today's parade. And you know, the 2023 National Memorial Day Parade, which is presented by Boeing, is also supported by the state of Qatar and the Epoch Times, we love them, and by American Airlines, the official airlines of the parade.
Well, we are here live on Constitution Avenue for the 2023 Memorial Day Parade. We could have asked for a little bit better weather, but it looks like the rain is now letting up. Some of the umbrellas have gone down, so that's a good sign. Presented, though, by Boeing. We thank them very much for their sponsorship to make this parade possible. We also want to thank the American Veterans Center producing the parade annual, and they've done it now annually for almost 20 years.
Oh, absolutely. Almost 20 years. Go to AmericanVeteransCenter.org. And you know what? Now let's just go back to the parade on Constitution Avenue right here in our nation's capital.
If you're out on the parade route and you want to put something on Twitter, hashtag NMD Parade. Get it out there. Let's get in circulation. Let everybody know you're watching. Here we go. The Mineola High School Marching Band. They're joining us from Long Island, New York. The band is the reigning New York State Field Band champions. They are proud to march in today's parade. The band thanks their community for their support that got them here. Let's take a listen.
Did you have to say raining?
Mm-hmm. They sound great.
I love that band.
Welcome to D.C. Well, we're honored to introduce you to our next float featuring family members who have lost loved ones that have served in our armed forces. The Tragedy Assistance Program for Survivors, which is known as TAPS, provides hope, help, and healing to those grieving the death of a service member. The families you see in this parade represent over 100,000 members of the TAPS family, where the life of a service of our nation's heroes will never be forgotten.
Now, if you look on the parade float, you're going to see Bonnie Carroll. She is the founder and the president of TAPS. And look who's joining her. A good friend of Bonnie's and a great friend of ours is the super chef, Robert Irvine, a longtime friend of the parade. We love him. Wave to Robert. There he is.
And while today is a day to remember, it's also a day, if somebody you know is a Gold Star family member, give them a call. Let them know you're thinking about them. Here now at the National Archives are housed the documents that tie us all together: the Declaration, the Constitution, and the Bill of Rights. And now we continue the story of the American Revolution. Generation after generation of Americans have been inspired by the story of George Washington's leadership through the War for Independence.
Now let's do a little rewind and go on a travel exposition back in time for this visit from the Commander-in-Chief of the Continental Army and our first president, George Washington. He's traveled 16 miles up the road from his home in Mount Vernon along with his wife, Martha, just to join us here today. They're being portrayed today by Daniel and Kelly Shippey. Veterans United Home Loans brings us this replica of the original American flag that legend says Betsy Ross created in Philadelphia during the Revolutionary War. It features 13 stars for the original 13 colonies.
You know, legend has it that several members from the Continental Congress, including George Washington, asked and tasked Betsy Ross to sew the first American flag back in 1776. It is being carried today by members of the Civil Air Patrol. Founded on July 4th, 1876, on the 100th year of our country's freedom, the Sons of the American Revolution is one of the oldest patriotic organizations in the United States.
Each of its 38,000 members is a descendant of at least one patriot of the American Revolution. Now, for those Americans with grandparents born in the United States, it's estimated that 60% can trace their ancestry to a patriot of the American Revolution. And you are eligible, if that's the case, to join the Sons or Daughters of the American Revolution.
Please welcome the South Callaway High School Bulldog Pride Band from the great state of Missouri, the Show Me State. They've come to show us. Under the direction of Dustin Holland, the band was named the Class 2A Missouri State Marching Band champs this year. The band is celebrating its 63rd year and consistently earns top honors and rankings. Let's take a listen.
another great band coming up. And that would be from West Jordan, Utah. Please join us in welcoming the Copper Hills Mighty Marching Grizzlies. They're representing the Beehive State. The band is one of the oldest and most active groups on campus. These young musicians can be heard year-round, performing constantly, both on and off the field, showcasing countless hours of practice in a variety of contexts, from musical theater to symphonies. Well, the Marching Grizzly Band is known for their overwhelming energy and impeccable sound. Let's take a listen. We thank these... We thank these parade volunteers for carrying the banner that will recognize those that we lost in the War of 1812.
We're going back to California now. The San Pedro High School Golden Pirate Regiment is from beautiful San Pedro, California. San Pedro is a storied Los Angeles city, famous for the Port of Los Angeles and its working class and military history, home to major shipping ports for all the West Coast and housing for our U.S. Air Force. It was founded in 1903. The Golden Pirate Regiment at San Pedro High School has been a part of the fabric of the San Pedro community since the school's inception. They sound great. Let's listen.
Arg, as the pirates say.
Arr. The 2023 National Memorial Day Parade, presented by Boeing, is brought to you by the state of Kuwait.
Well, look at this. Leading a replica of the Star-Spangled Banner from down in Constitution Avenue is Old Hickory himself, General Andrew Jackson. Long before becoming president, Jackson won a decisive victory at the Battle of New Orleans at the end of the War of 1812. Andrew Jackson is being portrayed today by Tim Marone.
And General Jackson is followed by an oversized replica Star-Spangled Banner. Just after dawn on September 14, 1814, the attacking British saw the American flag still flying over Fort McHenry in Baltimore despite the rocket's red glare. It is brought to you by the Sightline Military Times.
And you know, the side of the flag signaled that their attack had failed and the Americans had won the battle. The flag is being carried by members of the Civil Air Patrol.
You can actually see that flag, the real one, at the History Museum here in Washington, D.C.
Wow.
From the Sunshine State of Florida, here is the Jupiter High School Spirit of Jupiter Marching Band, a 4-time state champion, 15-time state finalist. The band consistently ranked superior and was voted the best band in Palm Beach by the Associated Press. We have to listen to them because they sound great.
They do. with malice toward none, with charity for all. Let us strive on to finish the work that we're in, to bind up the nation's wounds. These words were so eloquently spoken by President Abraham Lincoln during his second inaugural address, and clearly demonstrates his devotion towards healing a shattered and broken nation.
A difficult task to preserve the Union back in 1861, yet that's what Lincoln did. President Lincoln portrayed today by Don Mullen. He is riding in a carriage pulled by a draft horse from Harmon's Carriages and Training in Brandy Station, Virginia. Welcome, Mr. President.
Absolutely. You need that top hat.
And sponsored by Xfinity, this flag coming down the street is a replica of the famous Bennington flag, evoking the spirit of '76. The Bennington flag is brought to you by Comcast and carried by members from Civil Air Patrol.
And the actual relic flag is on display in Bennington, Vermont. The flag measures 15 by 20 feet and is among the most distinctive flags of the Revolutionary period. The Sons of Union Veterans of the Civil War was formed in 1881 to carry on the traditions and memory of the Grand Army of the Republic. It was a fraternal organization of the United States soldiers and sailors who fought in the Civil War to preserve our Union.
And General John Logan, Commander-in-Chief of the Grand Army of the Republic, started Decoration Day on May 30th, 1868, to honor those who gave their lives to preserve the Union in the Civil War. We now call Decoration Day Memorial Day. Please welcome female reenactors of distinction known as Freed from the African American Civil War Museum here in Washington, D.C. They marched to represent the unknown or forgotten ladies of the Civil War era who made major contributions to educational, medical, artistic, and social makeup of our nation.
Freed seeks to teach our shared American history to our next generation of leaders, so they might understand their responsibility to our nation's destiny.
And you can hear them coming up the street making their third appearance in our parade. Here comes the Coventry High School Band from Coventry, Connecticut, under the direction of Hannah E. Cole. The band thanks its administration, community, and the high school music boosters for their incredible support. Let's listen in.
Are members of the USO, a family of volunteers sustained by the charitable contributions of millions of generous Americans. They are committed to supporting our country's service members by keeping them connected to the people, places, and things they love. Their work is a powerful expression of gratitude to the men and women who secure our nation's freedom.
Another band from Kentucky. It's Mason County Marching Band, a 4-time MSBA finalist and 9-time KMEA semifinalist. The band today has 2 sets of twins marching and an additional 4 sets of siblings marching. They have a lot of family here. The band has once played for President Clinton during a campaign tour. Today, the band under the direction of Kendrick Applegate is playing a medley of You're a Grand Old Flag, My Old Kentucky Home, and Yankee Doodle. The medley was arranged by the color guard director, Derek Easterling.
And rolling down the parade route right now is the George Washington chapter of the Model A Ford Club of America. This club is made up of members from Maryland, Virginia, and the District of Columbia. Of the 5 million Model A Fords built between 1928 and 31, over 100,000 still travel the highways and byways of the world.
And not one of them is electric.
You think?
They used to have to crank those engines to get them started.
Well, that's where they got the term, don't get cranky.
That's exactly right. From the Lone Star State of Texas,
Yeehaw.
Here's the Hondo High School Mighty Owl Band. The band, which began in 1951, has a current 33-year streak of superior ratings under the leadership of Army bandsman Al Sturcio. Let's take a listen.
I knew his father. The 2023 National Memorial Day Parade, presented by Boeing, is brought to you by Sunbelt Rentals and by the American Veterans Center. Join our mission to preserve their legacy at AmericanVeteransCenter.org. And here he is, marching, bully, bully, President Theodore Roosevelt, who gained acclaim by leading the famed Rough Riders during the Spanish-American War. He was posthumously awarded the Medal of Honor for his legendary and daring charge up San Juan Hill, and is the only president to receive the medal. Of course, he did his recruiting in San Antonio.
And when you're president, you can give yourself medals. That's how it works. His son, Theodore Roosevelt Jr., received the Medal of Honor after leading troops ashore in Normandy on D-Day, which was June 6, 1944. Thank you to Michael Levick for his portrayal of President Roosevelt today, the Rough Rider. And the first U.S. voluntary Cavalry Regiment Rough Riders was formed in 1978 to provide a living memorial to Colonel, later President Theodore Roosevelt, and his gallant volunteer regiment. This group from Tampa, Florida is both charitable and historical society whose mission is to keep alive the historical contributions of Theodore Roosevelt and the men who served alongside him.
I've got my teddy bear. From Pottsville, Arkansas, let's give a big welcome to the Pottsville High School Marching Band under the direction of Devin West, Elijah Sullivan, and Paul Stivitz. Listen to those drums. Let's just take a big listen.
They're tough. The rain's coming down now, and they are not letting the phase of one bit.
I love them. I have my industrial hairspray on.
You're going to need it. The next float comes to us from the Lions Clubs of Washington, D.C., Delaware, Maryland, and Virginia. This is their 15th year participating in our parade. Lions Clubs International is the world's largest service organization. On the float, representing over 1.4 million members in over 213 countries, is Lions International President Brian Sheehan and wife Lion Lori. Their theme this year for Lions Worldwide is Together We Can, Together We Will. Riding the Lions float and marching alongside are Lion veterans recognized by their red, white, and blue sashes. Lions recognize and appreciate the contributions made by our veterans. Also accompanying the float are Lion marchers representing over 150 local Lions clubs, some carrying banners that denote the name of the club and the community they serve. Lions Clubs International is celebrating over 100 years of service. With so many Lions serving in so many places, it's easy to understand their slogan, where there's a need, there's a Lion, and their motto, we serve.
Let's welcome the combined North and South Medford marching bands and color guard coming to us from Medford, Oregon. And it takes a lot to get here. They want to thank their mayor, their city, their school district, for making this trip to Washington, D.C. possible. Aren't they great? Let's listen to more.
The D.C. Fire and EMS Department is proud to welcome back to the National Memorial Day Parade to Constitution Avenue. Your nation's capital is well protected by D.C.'s bravest, who work each and every day to ensure the District of Columbia residents and guests are protected and healthy. They have provided support to the parade for many years and are humbled to take this moment to reflect on, remember, and to honor those who made the ultimate sacrifice for our country.
I love these people. God bless them. A little rain doesn't faze them at all. Bring it on. We're marching. God bless America. God bless our troops. Please welcome the Blue Star Mothers of America Incorporated. They were formed in 1942 during World War II. The Blue Star Mothers are military mothers supporting their sons and daughters who are currently serving, as well as providing support for our veterans, Gold Star mothers, Gold Star families, and support of each other. They take pride in the fact that their organization has been providing service for the past 81 years, and they welcome all military moms into their organization.
And we thank the state of Qatar for their sponsorship and participation in today's parade.
Well, this is a special band. They're from Louisiana. They're the Lakeshore High School School Band, and you know what? They are often called the little band that could. Now, although they're just comprised of less than 45 members, they participate in about 7 Mardi Gras parades, 2 Christmas parades, at least 2 or 3 other community events a year. The members participate in several ensembles, including marching, jazz, and concert bands, as well as winter guard, indoor percussion, and winds. They're under the direction of Craig Byers. This is the Lakeshore Titan Band's second appearance here at the National Memorial Day Parade, and let's take a listen to that little band that could.
And to remember those we lost in World War I.
Yeah, I love that banner.
The 2023 National Memorial Day Parade is presented by Boeing and brought to you by DSS Inc. Veterans in Defense of Liberty. The World War I segment of the parade is sponsored by American Airlines. World War II. I apologize. World War II.
The rain got on your page.
That's what it was. It smeared the page.
That's a live parade for you, folks. Service flags were first hung in the windows of American homes during the First World War. A blue star on the white field signifies a family member who is currently serving. A gold star signifies a family member who has died in their service.
Among the most solemn symbols of the Memorial Day holiday, this Gold Star banner is carried by members of Amazon veteran employees. Thank you to Sunbelt Rentals for bringing us today's Gold Star flag. On April 16, 2021, the American flag was raised for the first time over the newly dedicated World War I Memorial in Pershing Park. That's in Washington, D.C. The memorial is dedicated to the 4.7 million Americans who served during the war and the 116,000 who made the ultimate sacrifice.
Among the National Memorial Day Parade's strongest advocates was the last surviving member and veteran of the First World War, Frank W. Buckles. He joined the National Memorial Day Parade prior to his passing in 2011. Today, Doughboy reenactors join the parade in his honor and the honor of all who served. Remember, over there, we'll be over. We're coming over, and we won't come back till it's over there. Joining us from Florida, the Pasco High School Marching Band. They're taking their moment on Constitution Avenue. This consistently superior rank band is under the direction of Mr. Kyle Spence. Let's give them their time on Constitution Avenue and listen. Joining us now is the Women's Marine Association, a nonprofit charitable association comprised of women who have served or currently serving in the United States Marine Corps regular or reserve components.
The Women's Marines Association was established in 1960 to ensure that the legacy and history of all women who have worn the uniform and earned the title of Marine would be shared to influence the next generation of Marines. And from South Carolina, here are the Blue Ridge High School Corps of Cadets Marching Band. This Class 3A marching band holds 8 state championship titles and is a pillar of the Blue Ridge and Greer communities. Let's take a listen to the sounds of this rapidly growing band program. Now walking down the route is Russ Adams. He's portraying Colonel Paul Tibbets. He was the pilot of the B-29 Enola Gay that dropped the first bomb on Japan that ended the war.
When the National World War II Memorial was dedicated on the 2004 Memorial Day weekend, the American Veterans Center helped to organize a parade in honor of the World War II veterans in attendance.
And it was out of that parade that the National Memorial Day Parade was born. Reborn, I should say. Leading this salute to our greatest generation are flags representing the original 26 Allied nations of World War II. The flags are being carried by Civil Air Patrol, the official auxiliary of the United States Air Force, which just last year celebrated its 75th anniversary. A special thank you to Paws for Purple Hearts for being one of the sponsors for today's parade.
During the Second World War, the United States and the Republic of China formed a friendship that continues to this day. Today, the ROC, known as Taiwan, remains a steadfast friend and partner in democracy and human rights. This 50-foot Taiwan flag commemorates that partnership. A special thank you to TechRo for their sponsorship. It's being carried by members from the Veteran Affairs Council, ROC, Taiwan.
Next up is U-Haul, the original veteran moving company. U-Haul was founded by a World War II Navy veteran and his wife back in 1945. The family-run company is one of the nation's leading military-friendly employers and always commits a portion of its community outreach to honoring veterans and addressing their needs. Today, U-Haul, its 34,000 team members, and its 21,000 independent dealers remember the heroes who paid the ultimate price for our freedom. To all who have served and sacrificed, and to their families, U-Haul says thank you and God bless you.
Riding on our next parade float are several living American treasures, surviving veterans of World War II. Among those on the float are World War II veteran of the United States Merchant Marines, who in 2022 were awarded the Congressional Gold Medal. Witnesses to history, these heroes join us in honor of their entire generation. Before his passing in 2022, we were so honored to speak with the last living recipient of the Medal of Honor from World War II, Herschel Woody Williams, awarded that medal for duty above and beyond the call of duty for his bravery in the Battle of Iwo Jima.
Today, barely 100,000 survive of the 16 million Americans who served in uniform during World War II.
Your dad.
It was mop-up.
God bless him.
We would like to thank Music Celebrations International for coordinating all of the bands in today's parade and for being a parade sponsor. From Concord, North Carolina, let's welcome the Cox Mill Spirit of Cox Mill High School Marching Band. The school and band began back in 2009. They performed a lot of places, such as Bands of America regional events, Walt Disney World, and the North Carolina State Music Educators Conference. Let's take a listen to what they do. They sound great. Hey, thank you to Tyler Perry for introducing the story of our next float, honoring the legacy of the 6888 Postal Directory Battalion. Unknown for decades, their story was championed by retired Navy Commander Carlton Philpott, leading to their eventual receiving of the Congressional Gold Medal. The women veterans appearing today owe their opportunities to the trails blazed by the 855 women of the 6888.
And I have the distinct honor and the great privilege to talk about one of the great veterans on the float, my dear friend, Major General Angela Salinas, the U.S. Marine Corps retired. She's a woman of many firsts. She made history as the first Latina selected and promoted to the general officer ranks in the U.S. Marine Corps. At the time of her retirement, she was a senior ranking woman and senior Hispanic in the Corps. Currently, General Angie Salinas is the CEO of the Girl Scouts of Southwest Texas. Semper Fi, mi amiga, te queremos mucho. You go, Angie. Now, the National Memorial Day Parade 2023 is coming down the road.
It's been coming down the road.
And the National Memorial Day Parade 2023, presented by Boeing, is also brought to you by the Lions Club International. Service from the heart. Together we can. You know, the National Moment of Remembrance established by Congress is something that we take very important to our hearts in this parade.
There's no question about it. It's nice that the parade did come back for a short time. It was suspended.
Yeah.
And then they brought it back, and it's such a nice parade to have. Obviously, we would love to have better weather for it, but in years past, it's been scorching out here.
Yes.
We have the parade. It's been drizzling. We have the parade.
And we'd like to say again that the National Moment of Remembrance established by Congress asks all Americans, all of you, to pause at this time to remember in an act of American unity those we have lost for Memorial Day.
And there's so much we owe them and a thanks that we can never repay, but at least we can take the time to think about their sacrifices. And right now, the National Memorial Parade is going to participate in that moment, coming to a complete stop, with taps being played in honor of all those who have sacrificed their lives for our freedom and for our country. Wherever you are, we ask that you please join us in this moment of silence.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now am found, was blind, but now I see.
That gorgeous rendition of Taps was played by Technical Sergeant Jason Covey.
And the singing of Amazing Grace just gives you goosebumps. That was, again, Technical Sergeant Adam von Allman. Beautiful job out there for that. And thank you, everybody along the route, for that moment.
Cheer them on for that great patriotic moment of American unity. God bless our troops and our country. You know, established in 1982, ROC Veterans Association of Greater Washington was one of the biggest Chinese organizations in the area. with more than 300 members, and all of them are veterans of the Republic of China, Taiwan, and include many high-ranking generals. From 1955 to 1979, many of their members have built up long-term great friendships with U.S. service friends when the joint forces were protecting Taiwan from communists. In past years, the association has actively been participating in many activities here with their friends of veterans groups to promote the mainstream events in the Chinese community.
Also, thank you to Leidos for being one of the parade partners.
The Mount Pleasant High School Marching Kilties are thrilled to represent Providence, Rhode Island for the first time in the National Memorial Day Parade. This group has performed at festivals across southern New England, including musicians with a variety of different backgrounds, including some of just beginning to learn how to play the instrument this year. Their success has been published in music education magazines such as Teaching Music and Rhymer. Director Lucchini, who founded the band in 2014, was nominated for the Providence Teacher of the Year in 2022. Let's listen to the Marching Kilties.
And parade volunteers carry this banner to remember those we lost in the Korean War. The 2023 National Memorial Day Parade, presented by Boeing, is brought to you by the State of Kuwait. Epic Times. The Vietnam segment of the parade is sponsored by Sunbelt Rentals.
Our next float features honored guests, American veterans of the Korean War. It's made possible by Veterans in Defense of Liberty, a national brotherhood of veterans bound by their lifelong oath to support and defend our Constitution. In addition to our Korean War veterans, the float honors their brothers and sisters from the Revolution to the present, who sacrificed their lives to preserve our God-given rights and liberty.
And in 2022, a new wall of remembrance was dedicated at the Korean War Memorial on the National Mall. If you've not been and seen that recently, you should definitely take a time and go check it out. It includes the names of the 43,000 service members and those who fought alongside Americans that were killed in that war.
Well, you know, it's often referred to as the Forgotten War. The Korean War was one of the deadliest conflicts in American history, with more than 128,000 casualties. Last summer, the new Wall of Remembrance dedicated at the Korean War Memorial on the National Mall, as you just mentioned, includes the names of 43,000 service members killed in that war.
And here are members from the Korean War Veterans Association. There are about 400,000 Korean War veterans alive today, but the average age, 92 years old.
Wow.
The Jeep and float are carrying Korean War veterans, and they are joined by Korean American veterans who fought for the Republic of Korea, but since the end of war have moved now to the United States, and they've become citizens. The Korean American women accompanying them are wearing the traditional hanbok dress.
Let's welcome the Marching Mustangs from Mount Vernon High School in Mount Vernon, Iowa. They regularly appear in the Chicago Thanksgiving Day Parade, and guess what? We have to give them an extra listen because this is their first time in the parade this year.
Welcome.
Woo, good drums.
now leading our salute to the generation who served in Vietnam is one of America's great heroes, Medal of Honor recipient, Sergeant First Class Melvin Morris.
Sergeant First Class Morris was shot 3 times after advancing to retrieve a fallen comrade. Decades later, he would be recognized with the highest award for valor. Give him a big salute back there. Love that.
That's a nice cutlass he's rolling in, too.
I like it.
A little retro. Nice.
From Kentucky, let's make way for the Muhlenberg County High School Band. Now here's what you need to know about this band. Their band programs have produced such talents as the Everly Brothers.
What?
Merle Travis, Guy Drake, James Best, and that great actor, Warren Oates, just to name a few. Hey, let's enjoy this award-winning band.
Talent in their DNA.
No kidding.
Our next float features very special guests, former prisoners of war from Vietnam, released 50 years ago in 1973. Today, we are honored to welcome home 3 American service members held as prisoners of war in Vietnam, released exactly 50 years ago.
We have Captain Charlie Plum, U.S. Navy pilot of 74 missions, shot down on his 75th. He was held prisoner for 6 years, and then he served as chaplain to his fellow prisoners. Now this you'll be amazed at. Rear Admiral Robert Shoemaker, naval aviator, spent 8 years and 1 day as a POW, but Admiral Robert Shoemaker devised the tap code that the prisoners used to communicate. What a brilliant man.
Genius. And Air Force Colonel Hubert Walker was shot down in 1968 and held for 5 years and 2 months and awarded the Silver Star for his heroism. This float honoring our Vietnam POWs is presented in partnership with the United States of America Vietnam War Commemoration. To our Vietnam veterans, we thank you for your service. All right, let's welcome Chapter 11 of the Special Forces Association, known as the Green Berets. They serve as the voice for the Special Forces community in the Capital Region. They honor traditions and brotherhood and are here to mark and remember the Special Forces soldiers who gave their lives in defense of our freedom.
And alongside the Special Forces veterans, we're honored to welcome newly awarded recipient of the Medal of Honor, Colonel Paris D. Davis, recognized for his valor in Vietnam on June 17th and 18th, 1965. God bless you, Colonel Davis. He was awarded our nation's highest award for valor by President Biden on March 3rd, 2023. Welcome and thank you, sir. The United States Air Force was officially established in 1947. Take a look at this 30-foot Air Force flag that will be coming down the road just a moment.
All right, joining us now are members from the Korean Vietnam War Veterans Association of the Greater Washington area. The Korean military force joined the American military force in Vietnam in 1965.
Here's is the Vietnam Veterans of America Chapter 958, chartered in 2005. They're a group of seasoned combat veterans and Vietnam-era veterans with a clear mission to assist disabled and needy veterans, including but not limited to Vietnam-era veterans and their dependents and the widows and orphans of deceased veterans.
And the Republic of the Vietnam Veterans Association Coalition, or RVVAC, they have participated in the parade throughout the year since 2007. And this year, the RVVAC proudly presents the statue of the Three Soldiers of Vietnam, or memorial, to express gratitude to all of the veterans who fought alongside the Republic of Vietnam Armed Forces from 1965 to 1973 for the freedom of the Vietnamese people. The RVVAC especially wishes to express gratitude to the more than 58,000 American service members and women who made the ultimate sacrifice for the freedom of the Vietnamese people. We will never forget their noble sacrifices now and forever.
Here is the Douglas High School Marching Band. They're coming up soon. And I think I see them. Yes, there they are. I could hear their drums. Yes, the Douglas High School Marching Band from Minden, Nevada, under the direction of Mark Porter. Recently, they took first place in the Single A division of the Sierra Nevada Band Series. This is their fourth trip to D.C. after participating in the inaugural parade in 1981, 1989, 2001, and 2005. Let's take a listen.
Say Minden has a small marching band, but Minden is a small town, just a stone's throw from Tahoe. Some of the best skydiving you'll find because of the thermals out there.
Yeah, but they got some great musicians.
They look great and they sound great. All right, we want to thank Costco for being one of the parade sponsors for today. So many generous sponsors, and we thank you for helping us put this parade back down Constitution Avenue.
Don't you love all the variety of these bands?
100%.
From West Virginia, here's the Braxton County High School Marching Band that was established in 1969 when the 4 high schools in Braxton County, they were consolidated into one. We are proud to present one of their state songs. You know it. It's Take Me Home Country Roads, originally released by the late John Denver in 1971. This version that they're playing was arranged by Matt Conaway in 2022. The band is under the direction of Lydia Gibson.
And now please welcome the Epic Times, devoted to America's principles of truth, freedom, liberty, and human rights. Epic Times was founded by Chinese immigrants and turned proud Americans. Visit them at Epic Times and their sister media NTD, which is simulcasting today's parade live stream.
And I want to make sure that everyone knows their bywords: truth, compassion, and forbearance. They fought for religious freedom against Chinese communists. They survived brutality that you can't imagine. On that float, you're seeing the great Jan Jekielek, the host of American Thought Leaders, and Lin Lin, the executive producer of a daily show on Epic TV and NTD. Parade volunteers carry this banner to remember those that we lost in Operation Desert Storm.
The 2023 National Memorial Day Parade, presented by Boeing, is also brought to you by Pause for Purple Hearts. Also want to thank Leidos, a Fortune 500 tech company, engineering and science solution leader, for sponsoring lunch to 1,000 active duty personnel participating in the parade. Leidos is working to solve the world's toughest challenges in the defense, intelligence, civil, and health markets.
On this Memorial Day, we stand with the people of the U.S. to pay our respect to the men and women who have made the ultimate sacrifice in services of their country. Qatar hosts Al Udeid Air Base, home of the U.S. Central Command Forward Command, and more than 11,000 American servicemen and women. These brave troops work shoulder to shoulder with the Qatari service members in efforts to promote regional security. We are proud to be partners in peace for our region and across the world, and we commemorate them on this day of remembrance.
A special thanks to the state of Qatar.
And again, that was the ambassador of Kuwait to the United States, Ambassador Al-Sabah, because Kuwait remembers our Gulf War veterans, and we thank them for participating loyally every year.
All right, let's welcome now One Band, One Sound, Pittsburgh All-City Marching Band. Look at that, the flags they're flying around out there. This band is comprised of 7th through 12th graders from 3 schools: Pittsburgh Alderdice High School, Pittsburgh Brashear High School, and Pittsburgh Obama Academy. The All-City Marching Band was established to showcase the talents of Pittsburgh's public schools. Let's take a listen.
The next float is brought to us by the state of Kuwait. The next float is brought to us, as we've been bragging about, by the state of Kuwait. You know, they are among the parade's earliest and strongest supporters. The people of Kuwait wish to convey their deep appreciation for those who served and those who fell in the fight to liberate their country. Kuwait remembers our Gulf War veterans. On behalf of the people of Kuwait, we've had the following message to the United States from the ambassador to the United States, Ambassador Al-Sabah.
Relationship between Kuwait and the U.S. Armed Forces was forged and further cemented during the First Gulf War. In 1990-1991, we Kuwaitis watched in amazement and admiration as the U.S. Armed Forces put themselves in harm's way to liberate my country. And ever since that day, we've had a very special place in our hearts and our minds for the U.S. and its armed forces. And that's why we're here today, on Memorial Day. And we will always be here to say thank you.
And the National Desert Storm War Memorial Association is honored to host a group of veterans who served on active duty during Operation Desert Shield and Operation Desert Storm in 1991.
The Gulf War, which was the successful liberation of Kuwait in 1991, was the result of a coalition of 34 nations. These veterans are part of the mission to build the National Desert Storm and Desert Shield War Memorial on the National Mall right near the Lincoln and Vietnam War Memorials. Thank you to our Gulf War veterans for your honorable service more than 30 years ago. Do you remember when they were here on the mall? The Big Blue. Yeah, we're talking about Ramsey High School Big Blue Band and Guard. They're from Ramsey, New Jersey. They're made up of 125 musicians and color guard members. The band has won numerous awards, participated in performances all over the world. The Ramsey Band has performed in Washington, D.C., Japan, London, and most recently, Mamma Mia, they performed in Rome. The band thanks the parade committee, and they thank them for this great honor of inviting them to participate in this year's National Memorial Day Parade.
Boy, the Big Blue sound great. You can see and hear why they've won so many accolades.
No
Nicely
kidding.
done. The 101st Division, Screaming Eagles, started in 1942, at which time it was observed that the 101st has no history, but has a rendezvous with destiny. Time and time again, the 101st has kept the rendezvous, and in so doing, acquired a proud history. On D-Day, June 6, 1944, the 101st Pathfinders became the first Americans to set foot in occupied France. They fought in the Battle of the Bulge. They fought on Utah and Omaha Beach. Operation Market Garden. They captured Hitler's mountain retreat. Joining them is Central Virginia Mustang Club, a nonprofit society to promote the safe and enjoyable use of all Mustangs, Fords, and Ford-powered vehicles. We thank them.
From Pennsylvania, here's the Washington High School Prexies Marching Band, under the direction of Mr. Stephen Cherry, along with the Assistant Director, Mr. Jeffrey Schmidt, Percussion Instructor, Mr. Nicholas Riedmeiler, and Majorette Instructor, Mrs. Justine Nielsen. The Prexies Band has a rich history of appearing throughout the country over the United States over the years. Performances such as the Junior Orange Bowl and Disney World Parades in Florida, the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade in New York City, and other parades and band festivals throughout the tri-state area.
All right, when you see this next truck, you know exactly who it belongs to. Mission Barbecue is known for its traditional American BBQ and for our mission to serve those who serve. Each location supports the global war on terrorism, Memorial Foundation, as well as other military, veteran, and first responder organizations in our community. Every day at noon, the entire restaurant comes to a screeching halt where they play the national anthem to honor our country. Mission Barbecue offers customized catering for all parties of all sizes, and our authentic deuce-and-a-half military truck is outfitted with a fully operational smoker that can roll in and feed your Army. Visit mission-barbecue.com for more information. The husband and wife that started this group, they are patriots through and through. They have done so much to help the military, and I got to be honest, they have some of the best prime rib. You got to get on the weekend for that it's a black plate special, and it's the barbecue prime rib. It's amazing.
I thought they were going to do a drive-by here.
I was hoping they'd drop a few ribs off.
Yeah. Well, the Maryville High School Marching Spoof Hounds, you heard that right, from Maryville, Missouri. They're a supportive community of about 12,000, and it's home to the world-renowned Northwest Missouri State University. Now, the unique Spoof Hound mascot is a reference to a toy dog from the 1920s. Now, the legend states that there was a disgruntled football coach that called his team just a bunch of spoof hounds. And you know what? It stuck. The marching spoof hounds, drumline, color guard, symphonic band, and jazz band. Well, they win many awards every year due to a culture of hard work passed down from generations.
The mighty Spoof Hounds.
I love them too much. I do.
I've got to get a shirt. I've got to have one.
Oh, no, we both do. But I'll have barbecue stains on mine.
Parade volunteers carry this banner saluting today's military.
The 2023 National Memorial Day Parade presented by Boeing is also brought to you by that great Robert Irvine Foundation and the state of Qatar. Our salute is to those serving us today, and it's brought to you by Leidos.
And here is Massachusetts Maritime Academy's Regimental Band Honor Guard and Drill Team, the pride of the regiment. Their mission is to provide music, military customs, and tradition to enhance the regiment of cadets' cohesion and morale.
That company promotes the Massachusetts Maritime Academy mission by showcasing leadership, discipline, knowledge through music, drill, and ceremony performances at public and academy venues to recruit, retain, and inspire a great regiment of cadets.
They put out some great captains, ship captains.
No, they have. Look how wonderful they look. Our final float honors the millions who have serving on active duty post 9/11, the 1.3 million serving today, and the more than 7,000 lost in combat operations around the world these last 20 plus years.
Joining us are active duty uniformed service members from each branch of the armed services, representing all who serve us with honor today. And on behalf of a continued grateful America, we thank you one and all.
Yes, cheer them on.
Please welcome the Wounded Paw Project from Virginia. They are a 3-tiered organization with a mission of saving a paw to save a life. Protect, be the voice of the voiceless. Advocate for the animals and wag employment. I love that. Giving rescues and shelters a second trail in life to follow. So these are rescues. They save a life, and then the dogs in turn save a life.
We should pause for them.
I think we just did. How cute is that guy?
I'm
oh my
telling
goodness.
you. Does that make your heart melt or what?
Well, good for him. He's not all freaked out. He's got a lot of people around cheering him on. He's looking for his way. Probably looking for something that smells good. Maybe the Mission Barbecue. That's why they put him behind.
Thank you to the state of Qatar for being a sponsor and supporter of the National Memorial Day Parade.
And thank you to the parade volunteers for carrying the American Veterans Center banner, the organization responsible for today's parade, and so much more. Please visit AmericanVeteransCenter.org to see all that they can do for our veterans.
The Coronado High School Marching Band comes to us from Henderson, Nevada, located right in the Las Vegas Valley. The Coronado High School Band has accumulated many awards and accolades and has been invited to several national and international events, including just traveling to London to march in the New Year's Day Parade, to Washington, D.C., to perform in the National Cherry Blossom Festival, Independence Day parades, and also fifth in Bogota. They went to Dublin for the St. Patty's Day Parade and to Cleveland, Ohio to perform in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Bet they love them in Dublin.
The National Memorial Day Parade would like to thank Mustang Club of Maryland, National Capital Regional Mustang Club, and Central Virginia Mustang Club. These are some pretty nice Mustangs. These aren't 1 horsepower, by the way, like the old Mustangs. These suckers have some power.
Oh, yeah, they do. I always thought James Bond should have had a Mustang.
Nah, maybe. He did look good in his Aston Martin.
From Charlotte, North Carolina, here are the Marching Bulldogs from David W. Butler High School. They consistently earn superior ratings. The Marching Bulldogs are a proud flagship ensemble for the Butler High School Band program under the direction of Andrew Francis. Let's take a listen.
The 2023 National Memorial Day Parade presented to you by Boeing and is also brought to you by TAPS, Tragedy Assistance Program for Survivors, and the American Veterans Center. Join our mission to preserve their legacy at AmericanVeteransCenter.org.
Thank all of you for joining us today for the National Memorial Day Parade 2023. We want to thank all the veterans, the bands, the marchers, the volunteers, everyone that's helped us to put this together.
And the American Veterans Center, we thank them for all they do, and we thank everybody, all the sponsors that helped put this together, and more importantly, all the folks that came out and decided to spend their Memorial Day with us along Constitution Avenue, enduring the rain and watching the parade and enjoying.
To all of you there serving in harm's way, first of all, we want to tell you thank you for your service. We miss you. We appreciate you. Please stay safe. God bless you. Our country really loves and appreciates you.
For all those who've served and sacrificed, we can't thank you enough. Obviously, you've incurred a debt that we can't repay. The least we can do is say thank you.
God bless you.
And we'll see you again next year here from Constitution Avenue for the National Memorial Day Parade.
Money is the new money. Money, yo. See, I wanna love better. Go down as the Muhammad Ali. I be intend to wake up at 3 a.m. Hit money, yeah, I say love is the new.
Home on the parade.
See, we got a right to just love it, leave it, you find it and keep it, 'cause it ain't every day you get the chance to say, oh, this is how it starts. Wasn't perfect, but loving you is worth it. Thank you so much. right, you guys ready to dance with us a little bit? know it wasn't perfect. Knowing if it felt right, I wouldn't change a thing. I know it wasn't perfect, but loving you was worth it. Loving you was easy, loving you was nice, but loving you was one side of a life. Leaving was a heartbreak, closing of a door. Can't blame us for wanting something more. It wasn't just me I did it for. I know it wasn't perfect, but loving you was worth it. There's still sweetness in the memories, even after all the hurting, even after all the long nights, not quite knowing if it felt right, I wouldn't change a thing. I know it wasn't perfect.